Welcome to Connecticut at your service. Welcome to Connecticut at your service. My name is Dion Pulcinella, and I'm guest hosting for Carmen Nieves this week. This week, I'm coming to you and honored to bring to you Lisa Crespo Gerald, who obtained her Master's of Science from the University of Connecticut in Human Development Family Relations. Lisa is the Executive Director of Project Pardon. She holds a Master's of Science degree in Management and a graduate certificate in Latino Community Practice from the University of St. Joseph. Lisa served as a probation officer for the state of Connecticut for a total of 22 years. As a probation officer, Lisa supervised clients and/or led units, which served a variety of caseload to include intakes, court staff, domestic violence, mental health, probation, transition program, youthful offenders, sex offenders, and gender-specific caseloads. Throughout her years as a probation officer, she wrote, trained, and supervised officer in pre-sentence investigation, or PSI. These lifetime reports were and are currently used to make sentencing and condition recommendations. The reports are considered by judges, prosecutors, and defense attorneys. Other users of the report are Department of Corrections for classification, parole matters, and consideration by the Board of Pardon. After 13 years of service, Lisa was promoted to Chief Probation Officer until she retired. After her retirement, Lisa became the Executive Director of Project Pardon, LLC, which was inspired by her desire to continue to support positive changes for individuals, families, and community. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, you are a probation officer and a chief probation officer for the state of Connecticut for 22 years. Can you tell me about your experience as a probation officer?
Well, my probation experience extended for a number of units, like you said. I've served all communities. I've did Bridgeport, Hartford, New Haven. My last end of my career was in West Haven and Milford, and I've done a variety of different units, like I said. Supervised some amazing clients. You know, sometimes great people make terrible mistakes. Sure. We all deserve a second chance, but and the staff and my colleagues, and it helped that I was able to work with my best friend and mentor.
Very nice.
So
I can imagine that being a probation officer and chief probation officer is a tough job. And I can only imagine the things that you've probably seen and heard in your time.
Yes.
What inspired you to get up and go to work every day?
Just a love to serve others. Every day you learn something new. Every day was an exciting day in terms of you don't know what your day is going to encounter. It could be something from just having a potluck with the staff to dealing with, suicide and mental health or substance abuse or a victim coming in the door. So every day was unpredictable.
I can imagine.
And also it was just something new.
Yeah. What inspired you to get into that line of work?
I fell in by accident.
Really?
I really did.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
Our agency that I had worked at was terminating a project where they lost grant funding, and I sat in the back seat of a vehicle. We were visiting some high-risk youth. That's what I worked with the program, and a juvenile probation officer said, "Hey, have you ever thought of becoming a PO?" And I'm like, "Well, what's that?" And then she told me, and ironically, when my first interview with the department, they asked me, "So what do you know about what a probation officer does?" And I just could hear her in the back of my head, and when I got it, I took it.
Wow.
It was like winning the lottery.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
So I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you have more than 1,000 hours of training in cultural competency. Can you tell us what is cultural competency?
I think it's understanding that every culture has a different perspective sometimes, or like a real world experience, and to be able to just kind of hone in on different cultures. And that doesn't include, like, it includes poverty as a culture. And many of those hours were not just for cultural competency. I mean, it was on a variety of issues, you know, helping people with mental health, helping people with any and every subject you can imagine. That's a life skill.
Wow. Now, is that part of your training as a probation
Probation
officer?
experience is definitely one, but also the Latino community practice program kind of helped me hone in on serving my own community. So it's good.
That's amazing. It sounds like training that anyone can use.
And we can all use it,
Yeah.
especially in
Especially
these
today.
times.
Absolutely.
Oh, big time.
Big time, big time. So please tell our viewers, what is Project Pardon?
So Project Pardon is actually my own company that I started as basically a passion project. Before I retired, I kept saying that I wanted to do something that would continue my work with the people who I didn't see again, because you know, those who get involved in recidivism come in the door, out the door, in the door, out the door, and you know who they are, and you develop a relationship with them, and you know them by name. Sometimes you know them by generation.
Wow.
But there were the people who just didn't come back, and it was like, what happens to them? So for the last 4 years before I retired, I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to do pardon. So one day I was just like, let's go.
Wow, that's amazing. That is truly amazing.
Thank you.
So tell us about the various profiles of your clients. Are there some people who are completely didn't do it, innocent, and also people who said, yes, okay, I did it, I served my time, I paid my debt to society, I'm rehabilitated. Tell us about that a little bit. What does that profile look like?
Number one is we're not there to retry anything. We're not trial. You know, you pled guilty, you got to deal with the consequence of guilt. Whether you feel you were coerced in a system that you felt was unjust at the time. You know, that's not our goal. Our goal is to present where you were at that time to how you became who you are today. That's so different. You know, and that's a very important piece. And sometimes people say, well, I wasn't involved. Well, I'm like, did you get into that car? Yes. Did you know what would be in that car?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So then there's some level of accountability. We all have to be accountable.
Absolutely.
You know, so if that's what you chose, and our conversations sometimes lead to like a different perspective of accountability.
Sure, and that's so important as well, because a lot of people, and I feel like it's kind of coming from the top down, right? Like a lot of people don't take responsibility for their actions, right?
Absolutely.
So those conversations, I think, are so incredibly important.
Yeah.
So tell me about the services that Project Pardon provides.
So we basically do pardon from beginning to end. And we serve people. Originally it was just like the local area, but we've expanded to serving people from anywhere that have a Connecticut conviction. So I have people as far away from Jamaica. I have clients that had Connecticut convictions, that they applied for re-entry into the country. I've had people from other states, but what I do is end-to-end services. So I have my own fingerprint machine. So I do my own fingerprinting on site. If a person has a record in another area, in another, federal or another state, I'm a certified FBI channeler, so I can fingerprint you. Your prints go directly to the FBI right out of our office.
Oh, wow.
And in addition to that, we interview you, we upload everything, we follow your case, we track it. We help you prepare your statements. If you have to go for an interview, for a hearing via Zoom, we help people get ready for that too. Okay. And we have the technology and equipment right in our office for those who, don't have access, right? So the big goal is access.
Sure, absolutely. That's so important. And a lot of people don't really think about, especially today with using Zoom, that people may not have access to actually attend their own hearing. So that's
absolutely.
Yeah, wow.
Or just use a phone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Phone it's not going to cut it all day long for 6 hours.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Interesting. So I'm curious about the impacts you've seen on the work that you've done for your clients. How have you seen lives change as a result of your work?
Oh my God, just everything. I had someone come and bring me an invitation to their graduation from a police academy.
Oh, wow.
That was huge. I have someone who became a notary. I have someone who became a firearms instructor. I've had people just get jobs, which has taken their income and shot it up. You know, the pride of being able to tell your kids, you know, so it's definitely can be emotional to watch the changes. And they come back. They come, they call, hey, how you doing? They reach out. So it's nice you develop a family style relationship.
I bet. So in case you're just joining us, we're here with Lisa Crespo Gerald, who is the Executive Director of Project Pardon. And she is telling us about this amazing organization that she started to help people who have been convicted of crimes to expunge their records.
Absolutely.
Now, I was going to ask you, but now that you told me that you service all of Connecticut, what happens if I happen to be in New York, a New Yorker, and commit a crime in New York, and I happen upon your services, and I come to you? How would you direct someone like me to?
So I do have a colleague that I found in New York that deals with some expungement stuff in New York. I've had people with federal questions, so there's a very particular attorney that I refer to. Irony is that our relationship that we developed was really by phone because I'm not in DC. But in terms of him, what I found was his heart for the client, his just willingness to tell the truth about it may never happen or it may happen. And there was something about his character that made me so comfortable that I sent everybody to this attorney down in DC.
Nice. So tell me about those conversations. I mean, are there times when you have to tell a client, look, I don't think it's going to happen for you? Does that ever happen, really?
Oh, yeah. So basically, I do a phone consultation, and in that phone consultation, what'll happen is I'll look up their criminal record because I could see it. Basically, I took probation, and anything that I knew would be part of a file, I found out how I can access the public information for that and subscribe. And the information's at my fingertips, so we review the record, we review what's changed. I look at how long it's been, and I'm doing a mini assessment according to the assessments I learned about at probation. And then sometimes I will always tell a person, you can apply like anytime that you feel that you want to in terms of being within the guidelines of the state requirements. However, what I will tell you is that sometimes people haven't taken care of that mental health, haven't taken care of that substance abuse, haven't taken care of, not serving their community well. And what I do is I encourage them to just get on YouTube and watch the hearings. And we talk about the issue, we talk about the hearing. I let them watch the hearing, I encourage them to, and I say, call me back and let's talk about what you think. And usually once they've watched the hearings, they'll come back and turn around and say, you know what, Lisa, I see what you were saying, this is what I need to work on. But not only do they need to work on it, I'm like, it's totally voluntary, but if you want some resources on how to work on those things, we've gotten people into therapy, not by force, but by choice. We've given them referrals, contact Connecticut Works, hey, you're struggling with employment, so we just continue to try to be a resource. It's more than a pardon.
Yeah.
And even when our clients are gone, like they're done, they've been pardoned, they'll come back, we notarize papers for them, no charge to them. I've had people come out and say, hey, I don't know how to do this firearms permit, and they're eligible. So I've helped them with that, different stuff. Yeah. Somebody for housing, I'm like, oh, well, let's find out, let's make a call. So, it becomes like a family kind of all in one shop.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is not only are you a resource to help with pardons, but you really give your clients empowerment. You really educate them as to how they can even get to the point of seeking a pardon? Because sometimes there's work, it sounds like, that needs to be done.
So there's work that needs to be done to get the pardon, right? And I never can speak for the Board of Pardons because they're their own entity.
Sure.
I can just speak to my training and experience. I've been doing pardons now for almost 8 years. I've done over 400 pardons with almost 100% success rate.
Awesome.
You know, and I've done some really serious cases.
Yeah.
You know, I had somebody with 30-something charges, convictions, going all the way back to sniffing glue when I didn't even know it was a charge.
Wow.
You know, and their whole life has changed.
And so all 36 got wiped out?
Yeah, if you get a pardon, it wipes out your whole
Completely
entire
clean.
record and you come out clean, like no record found. And that is a brand new start.
That's amazing. That truly is amazing. Wow. So if someone wants information about having their record expunged, or someone they know to have their record expunged, how can they get in touch with you?
So first of all, they can go to our website and get some general information. Obviously, we'll provide links to this interview, some other interviews. If they want to get some general information, we're not open. You know, at the time of day they're looking, they can send me a email right to info@projectpardonllc.com. We get back to them within 24 to 48 hours. Give us a call. You know, if we're with another client, respectfully, we'll say, hey, you know, give us your number. We're going to call you back. You know, we're usually really fast at it.
That's awesome. Now, how big is your staff?
So it's myself. I have a part-time assistant that helps me with like paperwork and things that I can delegate. But I also have 2 other retired probation officers that are with me that they do the same. We were all trained the same way.
Wow.
We worked together since the 90s. One is my mentor, Tasha Brown, Rohena Huckabee, who I've worked with since the 90s. So we just take the volume as it comes, you know. We try to spread the love amongst us, and we all enjoy being retired, and this is, you know, a part-time thing for them, so it works well.
That is wonderful. That's wonderful. And it sounds like they're very dedicated.
Oh my God, yeah. Very. And we all were, like I said, probation chiefs. We all train the same way. We've all had the 1,000 hours of service over the years. We just have a diverse group of us that work together, you know, multiple languages, so.
Oh, what languages?
So I speak Spanish, and then in addition to Spanish and English, we have used interpreter lines. So, you know, if somebody has spoken Portuguese, usually Portuguese I could get away with the Spanish, and we speak and we understand each other quite well. So where I've had somebody who has spoken some of the Asian languages, and we've actually gotten interpreters, so
very good.
We'll find a way.
Excellent.
We will find a way.
So if English is not your first language, do not let language be a barrier.
Language should never be language shouldn't be a barrier for anything. And given these times, you know, I open my door to diverse communities, language, culture, whatever it is that we need to serve, you know, whatever community, it doesn't matter.
Excellent, excellent. So, how can our viewers learn more about Project Pardon, and how can they get involved? Do you accept donations? Can they donate? Or seek your assistance?
Yeah, so again, Project Pardon, they can find out about online, giving us a call. In terms of donations, we're not a nonprofit. We are an actual business. So, but I've had people say they want to bless somebody else by helping them. So if somebody calls me and says, hey, you know, I want to bless somebody, you know, and not so many words, we've connected some of our people who needed a little bit of help to pay their stuff off with the person who wants to help somebody. So that's an easy fix. And you know, they get connected, but both have to be comfortable with it. And we've had it like 2 or 3 times.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about Project Pardon that you'd want our viewers to know?
I think it's just that we're end to end, and like we treat everybody like family. There's the fact of connection. Our connection goes beyond that service. You know, when you want to give a call, you know, you can. We make ourselves as readily available, but just the fact that we do everything from end to end. That is a service well-rounded.
Awesome, wonderful. Sounds like we have a caller. Let's see. Did I pick up? Hello, you're on Connecticut at your service. Or I did not pick up the green button. Green button. I did press it. Hello, you're on Connecticut at your service. Hello. Oh, I pressed the green button. We lost our caller.
We'll find them again.
Call back. If
Hey,
you have
caller.
any questions, call us back.
They can also-
203-345-10103.
They can also call me at 203-416-6392. I do turn off my phone at 6:30.
Okay, well, that's good.
I have a firm stop for my phone.
Well, very good. So that's excellent. And I wanted to know, so you kind of mentioned your personal life, and it sounds like you do turn off the job, which is a good thing.
Something like that.
Something like that.
I don't always turn it off as well as I could or I should.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to ask my kids that question.
Okay, fair enough. Speaking of kids, so you're a mother of 3.
Yes.
How do you find the time? And a wife, you've been with your husband for over 30 years.
Yes.
Now, how do you find all the time in your day after doing all the work you do with Project Pardon to spend time with your family?
Delegating, a whole lot of delegating.
Okay.
I would say with my kids, making sure that they were very independent in many ways. Whatever they got involved in, we got involved in those activities, and let's do it.
Sounds like we have a caller, all right. Hello, Connecticut at your service.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
Fine, thank
Good,
you.
hi.
Thank you for calling.
So I am so excited to finally have you on.
Thank you.
So Lisa, really quickly, I know that a big part of your work is outreach.
Yes.
To talk a little bit about the education and the workshops and things like that you do to educate individuals who want to empower themselves, law enforcement, case managers and programs, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, so basically what has happened is I've been invited to a number of events, venues where I do, you'll have a community event where people set up tables. You know, I'll go to the Juneteenth. I've gone to things at Housatonic. I've set up the table. I've provided information. Anything where anyone who has invited me to speak, whether it's been a classroom, a community agency, I'm always open to it.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And just so that I'm clear, a pardon means that you clean off somebody's record, right? So it's almost like it never happened. They go back to living their life full, rich, unrestricted, right? You just help them. That's what you help them do.
Yes, completely clean, like a big old eraser, but it would be just for the state of Connecticut. There's no jurisdiction here with other states, and I have not tapped into learning about other states right now because Connecticut keeps us really busy, really busy. But when you run your record and it says no record found, that's a brand new life.
That's amazing. Really amazing.
Well, thank you so much for being on. And Dion, don't forget to mention your promotion, what you're doing next, okay? Because maybe that's another opportunity for Lisa.
Okay,
Have a
sounds
great
good.
day, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So that was our very own Carmen Nieves who just called in. So speaking of venues, you recently won an award. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so a Community Partners Award. This is the second time I've won an award from Career Resources. So it's really nice because they recognize the work that even though I'm a private company, the impact on the community and, you know, just the different ways that we help. And it was just an honor to have received that award, but it's really about the changes that the client makes.
Right.
I just put it on paper. I document it. I make sure your story gets told. The three of us that are doing these interviews, very personal one-on-one interviews, and just it's the client has to do the work.
Right, right. Well, again, you are providing that vehicle, right, to empowerment at the end of the day for people to really make huge changes in their life, and that's just really amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm very inspired by your work.
I appreciate that.
So you're so dedicated to Project Pardon. What do you do for fun?
I love to travel.
Okay.
I'm still active in my sorority, a Latina sorority.
All right.
Matter of fact, there's 2 days before convention in Puerto Rico.
Ooh, what part of Puerto Rico?
We're going to San Juan.
Nice.
So, but my husband is, he's involved in his union. He's an executive in his union. He's a Shriner. He's a Mason. So there's always a community activity one or the other's involved in. And we like to get dressed up and go out and, do these community things. We support things like Bridgeport Caribe youth leaders, just always trying to be involved in community. So those are the things that really I enjoy.
That's amazing. I don't know how you find all the time to do all that you do.
There's always a good reason to get a good dress.
Oh, it's all about the dress.
It's all about the dress. It's all about the dress. No, it's about the community stuff that we enjoy the time with people.
Excellent. So you're a mother of 3. How do you juggle being a mom, being a wife, the work? How do you do it all?
Like I said before, my kids are really independent, number one. In many ways they are. I have 2 kids now that are adults. One is going to be heading off to college next year, so that's going to be an interesting change for our house. And with the kids being adults now, it's a lot easier, but we still stay involved. We still stay in contact. There is a family group chat that you can count on my husband every morning to say good morning first. We keep our communication is really good. In terms of that, we go to each other's events as much as we can. Our doors open to the kids to talk if they want to. It's no perfect family, but it's perfect for me.
Yeah, well, no family is perfect, that's for sure.
So communicating, and communicating.
Absolutely. All right, awesome. Well, is there anything we haven't talked about that you would want our viewers to know, whether about you or Project Pardon?
To Project Pardon, just, call. If you don't know whether or not you're eligible, call, find out. If you're not eligible today, you may be eligible in 12 months, 24 months. We can kind of help you develop a personal voluntary plan. This is probation's over, so no mandatory stuff, but to kind of get you there and talk about what's going on, ask the questions that you want to ask, find out when you're eligible, be on the radar, put us on your radar, and share the word.
And typically, when are people eligible?
So it's, you got to look at many factors. So conviction date is probably the first biggest factor. 5 years from the date of a felony, 3 years from the date of your last misdemeanor conviction. So it's not from the date it happened, it's not from the date that it's over, but you have to have, your sentencing has to be done. You cannot be involved in any current court cases. There should be no nollies within the last 13 months. So nollies. So meaning you got into another something with the court and they give you 13 months. If you do the right thing, it goes away, and that's great. But in that period of 13 months, it's still kind of up in the air, and I wish people would understand that piece more, because people say it went away and they confuse a case being dismissed, like wrapped up, tossed in the garbage, done, versus, we put it aside, it's on the table, but you're good, but it's still there. And, so educating our community about those things are important.
Awesome, that's amazing. So where will you be next? So you said you go to a lot of different events.
Wherever I'm invited to go, I try to be there. Right now, it's the summer, things have died down, and, but I'm always open to schools and agencies and wherever.
All right. So
departments.
You heard, awesome. Well, that's amazing. Well, you heard it from Lisa Crespo Gerald. She comes to us from Project Pardon, where she does amazing work helping people to expunge their records. And thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Connecticut at Your Service.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.